Bitch, don't be nothing less flavor, got tattoos. I love squad members, I can't act cool. I like my bitches short and thick and ain't gotta act rude. She want you music, I'm the rest, cause I ain't that dude. I seen some things as a child that change my thoughts, but I try to do right, I'm on their ass and I won't fucking tell them. Here from the side, just don't be lazy, lift your fucking leg up. To all my niggas going through a struggle, keep your fucking head up. Anything you going through, I'm gonna witness it won't last forever. Just stay down and on your side, don't change the life or weather. If he a rabbit, then he got a ruler, but he ain't trying to measure. I gotta inhale me some weed to get my thoughts together. Hard in the summer, but my heart cold, so I gotta rock a sweater. We came in this world alone, so we ain't gon' leave out together. I know I'm blessed, I know my worth, so I can never settle. You can't show yourself before you only time can tell. Kill you one time to fuck up, then you can't go here. No deal, I got too many stuff to bring up cold here. No deal, I won't set my soul in how it go here. I won't school and stay loyal to my niggas and my face, they could have cold here. There's a new 40 on my hood, the bitch a bro here. There's a different dope inside the sun, we get the nose here. Smoking on some dope, but the gun, you gotta choke it. I could be like a receiver with a bitch emotion. I'm drinking on some shit that change the mood, we call it bullshit. Can't even have 30 in the clip, it make me broken. Got a walk on we got some smooth, like get it going. White girl playing with a little living no hand. My little girl split up the loss of baby, she was 16. Ain't doing shit for free, I want 200 for a 16. Glock with a thing, a 30 clip with a red aim. She make it off of me, cause all that niggas sold a big dream. Don't lose no love behind no shit you saying that you ain't me. All my niggas slide, you know what's up, bitch, you can't play me. I see the picture, clear my life, I'm moving like it's HD. I'm up at the get streets and I ain't got no book on say cheese. Light a little weapon when I up it, better say cheese. This life taught me some lessons, but the school I want no degree. I'm just trying to take care of my people, how you hate me. When I got caught with that little this shit was crazy. Bitch, the top baby shit don't do that.
Yo, what's good, everybody? I want to thank you all for joining us for episode number 42 of the Get Hook podcast. Pretty sure you already know who we are, but as always, week to week, this is your boy Hook. You muted, man.
I'm muted.
I'm unmuted now.
That's all good.
Girl, Chrissy Chris in the building, as I said when I was on mute. Like them little Chinese movies, they be like, hello.
Right. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Right. All right. So we appreciate you guys for joining us. So today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking body shaming versus preference. What are the differences? Is there a difference? So we have a panel here who's really going to share some insight. But Chris, what do you think about the topic?
Body shaming versus preference is major. I may prefer chicken over beef or beef over chicken, but I don't have to shame what I don't like. And body shaming isn't just, me saying I don't like big or I don't like this. Body shaming comes from everywhere, and we have to acknowledge it. It comes from home. It comes from friends. It comes from social media. Body shaming is everywhere, but body shaming sometimes is more internal for the person doing the shaming than it is the person being shamed. So I am glad we are bringing this to the table.
Absolutely. And I'll go ahead and let our guests introduce themselves. So guys, go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Bring it in, Chrissy J. Tell them who you are.
Okay, so y'all are kind of muffled. I don't know what's going on with my sound, but I can kind of hear what you're saying, but I can't. But we're going to go ahead and rock it out. But I'm Chrissy J. Some people know me as Crystal. Facebook, Instagram know me as Chrissy J. I am a dance instructor, also an aerobics instructor with Speed U South University. We own a gym in Lancaster, South Carolina, where my amazing man is the owner. We do personal training, we do meal planning, coaching, whether it's spiritual, mental, just getting you on track with your goals and help hoping you get to a point where you are consistently working that healthy lifestyle. More than anything, we want to change the mindset of people, and that's why this topic, body shaming, is on point for me, because it's something that I experienced with myself, something that I've done, not even realizing that I'm doing it, saying that it's my preference, but really I've been a victim of body shaming, and I've body shamed. So this is just something that I really, really, really want to dig into and just express my opinions and thoughts on it, because I know I have a lot to share, especially with being in the fitness world. It's something that you come across daily. So we offer those services if you need that help. When we throw that shameless plug in there, you can visit us at universitysouth.com, where you can see all of our services. We have a clothing line, the whole nine. So make sure you check us out, and I'm looking forward to this conversation tonight.
Hi, my name is Shamika Tapscott. I am also considered the ugly consultant everywhere on social media. I am a consultant. Right now I'm an educational consultant. I will be moving into the wellness sector. So I will be doing wellness as a whole person. And I will be teaching on not only fitness, but nutrition, your spiritual and your emotional health. So this is a subject that I'm absolutely in love with. What I do now is I'm an author and a motivational speaker. Most of the things that you will see me do is encouraging you to think about things in a different way, to change your perspective. I'm all about gaining new information and having the conversation. So I'm super excited to be here. And if you have any questions or you want to tap in with me, again, my name is The Ugly Consultant everywhere on social media.
Hey, tap in.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm Jonathan. Both of the crystals are my former step team members from back in the day when we were young and our joints worked like they were supposed to.
We had Megan knees.
Oh. I'm a personal trainer also here in Washington, D.C. I'm also a musical theater performer, and I'm building my brand. My friends here have inspired me as well by watching them on social media. Fitness. My YouTube is Just Jonathan Adriel. Just Jonathan Adriel ever on social media. It's just a lot of tomfoolery. My podcast is Not Your Average Preacher's Kid. And yeah. So yeah, just make sure you listen to that podcast. I'm Not Your Average Preacher's Kid, and you will find out why. But I'm very excited. But I'm very excited. Crystal called me out of the blue today and was like, "Do you?" I said, "Yeah." So we're here.
And again, I want to appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing cracking, man. So we'll go ahead and start with a relatively basic question. What's your definition of preference? What is a preference?
Yes, Jonathan, what is a preference?
No pun intended. When it comes to body shaming in the community, like Crystal said, you chicken, the fish, the turkey. It is what kind of sparks your attention, what makes you get those little butterflies. It is literally what you prefer. And I'm going to save the rest of it till we get on because it gets deeper. No pun intended.
Amen. Preference is what you like. Like the little commercial said, we eat what we like. I may not like certain things. I'm not a chicken feet hog and ham hogs and all that type person. I don't like that. I don't shame it, but I don't like it. I like what I like. There are things that I'm attracted to. There are things that I like he said, it give me butterflies, that get me all excited. That's my preference. But that doesn't give me the right to shame what I don't like because I don't like it, because that doesn't make what I don't like not beautiful. It just don't make my butterflies get to fluttering. So preference is what you like.
So back in the day, when Mama used to go to the grocery store, my brother would always get Apple Jacks. I would always get Fruit Loops, no pun intended. I hated the way Apple Jacks smelled. And I would always be like, why are you buying Apple Jacks? They are nasty. Nobody else wants to eat those in the house. But then as I got older, I was like, oh, he just preferred Apple Jacks. That don't mean I gotta like pop, choop, pop, pop. His Apple Jacks, just you eat your Apple Jacks. I'm eating my Fruit Loops.
Cereal shaming.
Cereal
Hard.
shaming.
Cereal shaming.
You guys already said what preference is. It's the different. It's like when you go shopping and you try on a shirt and you put on the shirt and you're like, okay, do I want this in black or blue? And you put both of them on and your skin tone be like
black.
You're right though. It is when you look and you say what I like. It's preference is your like, your choice. You can pick your preference. Come on back in with your black and blue. And he was like, black.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
My office is being ridiculous with my internet. This never happens. But it's the difference between you like trying something on and then you're like, oh, I like this better. Sometimes you just try things and something fits better. It looks better. It feels better. And so sometimes your preference just has to do with experience. Like when we're talking about body preference, sometimes like women, like we might have seen our dad built a certain way, and then that's what we think men should look like, or our brothers. And then, same thing with women. Men typically, I know this sounds gross, but they typically are attracted to whatever their mom looks like because the women around them is what they consider to be beautiful, like desirable. So, if they mom a little thick, they might like a little thick, So it's really just that. Sometimes it's just your surroundings with what your preference is.
My son gonna prefer thick women because he ain't never seen a skinny woman. Sorry, his mama ate. She was not ashamed of her kitchen. He don't even know what it means to be a single digit size.
Oh God. Hey Chrissy, you still there? I lost her again. She should be coming back in a second. So from what I gather, basically preference is just that, what you like, what an individual likes, right? All right. So now that we've established that, what exactly is body shaming?
When your grandmama say, oh, you look like you're thick, you're getting fat, you didn't look like that. When people got to point out what's wrong with you for no reason. When people have to go and say, well, she's too big for this or she's too big. Granted, there's some of that's honesty and calling out, but body shaming is showing you that. So for a lot of us, we might get on a scale right now and that scale might tell us that we obese. That damn weight is body shaming because I ain't supposed to be with that size that they think say. I'm not built like that. That's body shaming me. My name ain't Barbie. I wasn't born in the 60s. I came in when Chick-fil-A headlines. So I'm not built like them. You shame people when you make me feel bad about me when I'm beautiful the way that I am.
I think, but that's hard. That's hard because like I was talking about with the preference. Can you hear me? Because I'm feeling echoey. Are we good?
No, we can hear you real clear.
I think that's difficult because, okay, so I just recently lost like 35 pounds in total over the last like 6 months. And so I was shaming myself, but that's neither here nor there. Every time my mom seen me, she was like making fat jokes, but she didn't really mean to make fat jokes. I had just been a lot heavier and my mom assumed that I was just being lazy. So one day we're like eating and she was like, girl, you don't need that chocolate. And I said, you gonna say one more thing to me, we don't have a problem. And she was like, you don't need the chocolate. And so I felt like she was calling me fat, right? So I was like, okay, why do you keep talking about my weight? Like this really hurts my feelings. Like I don't want to be this heavy. Like I'm working on it. And she looked at me with the sincerest look and she said, oh, baby, I thought you were comfortable. That's why I had been saying something. I really was just trying to encourage you to work out.
They think that though. My grandma's just as bad. She was, so same as you. I looked up last year in January, I was 252 pounds. I'm 5'9". And then I had to, you could hear people saying, oh, but you're beautiful. Oh, but you're tall. Oh, but when I looked in the mirror, I didn't like what I was seeing. If I'm not sexy to me, I don't feel good. And then I go to my grandma's house and she's doing stuff like patting me on my tail. Girl, them big old legs. Girl, if you pat me one more time like a horse that needs to gallop, I'm going to flip out. And you start to realize this is aggravating. I don't want to hear you cute for your size. I don't want to hear, oh, but you wear it well. Listen,
Yeah.
No. So it's a shaming feeling because every time you get around somebody, they go, woo. First of all, you insulting little gremlin. That bothered me. And you start to feel it all the time. So then you look at yourself and you find yourself taking pictures from here up.
Yeah.
You find yourself trying to cover up. What Jonathan say? Black, because black gonna hide it. You got waist trainers on. You eating this. You taking that pill because you start shaming you. And if you think what people say is bad, what you say to yourself is 10 times worse.
It's on our side of it because at the beginning of Rona, baby, we was all eating. I got to like 222. Listen, my daddy did not give me that gene package to be no 222. I like it because I was thick up, but my mama said to me via Google Duo, baby, I said, oh, because I stood up and she saw my tummy. And I was like, oh, did my mama just body shame me? I said, did Gloria do it?
Gloria Dean did it.
It's not like it's nothing to them because it's that generation doesn't see it as that. And then after I had my surgery in September,
Mama gonna tell you the truth because your grandmama gonna tell you the truth. They keeping it real.
I had my surgery in September, got my shoulder fixed. I wasn't eating or working out or nothing, so I got down to like 190-ish or something like that. My mom said, baby, you eating? I was like,
Can't win for losing.
I said,
I came back from DC, Jonathan. My grandma looked me dead in my face when I came to the door and said, girl, DC did you good. First of all.
It did, because like last night, you get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, you go to IHOP and get you a whole chicken fajita omelet with French toast. That they messed up and gave you pancakes, but God said check it before you left. But did you check it? No. Got all the way back home and it was pancakes, but you really wanted French toast.
That didn't happen to me.
I mean, it sounds like for the most part, especially in the Black community, we've somewhat normalized body shaming. Like we don't,
it's nothing.
We don't view it as body shaming. We view it as either, like Shamika said, trying to encourage somebody. But I think there's a certain kind of way you go about doing it. If somebody is already self-conscious about their weight, the last thing they want to hear is you need to step away from the table. Conversely, if they're skinny and they need to gain weight, they don't want to hear, hey, you need to go eat a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's different levels.
When you're trying to get big in the gym and they say, you're losing weight, nobody asked you nothing. I'm trying to get the 220.
Have something to say. If you get all your muscles together, you're doing something. If you get too skinny, you look like you're sick. If you get too big, you're not taking care of yourself. Everybody got something to say. And after a while, they don't know that stuff weighs on you heavy. When you're by yourself, you're your worst critic.
Honestly, after my surgery, when I couldn't work out, I could do nothing. Because this 360 joint, it puts you down. So I had to like fall in love with whatever my daddy and mama, whatever gene package they gave me. I had to become, I was like, oh, so this side of this little love handle do roll down my underwear a little bit. So once you get recovered, you're going to have to get back to it.
Crystal and I had a conversation the other day about body shaming.
Shamika was saying something.
She made a really good point about it that she wanted to bring up tonight. Chris, you can hear us?
Finally, yes. Can y'all hear me?
Ooh, girl, you sound good. You look good.
We go. I had to go steal my baby school computer because mine wasn't working, so I thought it was gonna be blocked.
Hey,
so
whatever you did, that's perfect.
If he can get it, he might get in trouble, but he'll be all right. I'll take
it. All right, you're gonna get him straight.
But what were you saying, Chris?
The body shaming is, so we're talking about what is the body shaming, and we were talking about the family dynamics of it. But you mentioned the other day a part of it that people don't think about is, so say I don't feel like running on a hamster wheel. Say I don't feel like doing squats all day. What if I got a couple of stacks in the bank and I say, cut it. Don't body shame me because I did what I did to do my stuff different. That's my business. Now me and Mika had a conversation, but that's a big one.
Exactly. I think one of there are two areas that I wanted to talk about tonight that many don't talk about when it comes to body shaming. But now everyone knows that if you don't want to work out, you can get a nip, tip, tuck, cut. You can get all that done. And women are literally being body shamed. They are being ridiculed. They're called fake. They're saying they're taking the shortcut, all because they chose to take the surgical route of getting to the end goal of their fitness, or not fitness, or I guess body goals or whatever. And it's just, it to me it's heartbreaking because first of all, who are we to say what anyone should do with their money or their body? It's theirs, number one. And the thing about the crazy thing about the body shaming when it comes to women who do opt to do the surgery, I see it so much coming from men who adore women that actually, the Instagram women, most of those women, most of those fitness women, they have some type of surgery, whether it's their breasts, their tummy, their arms, lipo, and those men drool over these women. They stalk their pages, they follow all of these Instagram models, but they see the average everyday woman that's from their hometown go get surgery and it's fake, she fake, you know, da 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 da. But to me, it's just it's a big form of body shaming that we see so much now. And I feel like it is a woman's right, a man's right to do what they want to do with their money. To me, for example, I have people that I know, plenty of people who have had surgery. Surgery is not something that I plan on doing. If I did, it'd probably just be a little lift or something. But as far as getting anything added or taken, that's just not a route that I want to take. But who am I to say, because I decide to take this route, that or I should shame those who take the other? Even with us being in a fitness, you know, arena, that's not the thing that we push. We do push, you know, take.
Oh, not the baby computer.
When it comes
She looked just like them children. I mean, no dang on sense.
My children are like you.
I say that to all my friends. I feel like they're like, okay,
but the crazy thing is, the thing that most people don't really see is, even with the surgery, those women have to put in a lot of work because you have to maintain it. Mm-hmm. And then and it's the thing where it's like, why are we shaming people for personal decisions and things that they do with their hard work and their hard-earned money? Like, right. And a lot of those women are in an industry where the money that they put into their body is actually an investment to bring money back in. Because nowadays, let's just be real. You have to have a certain look. You have to have a certain size butt. You got to have a certain size waist, you know, to fit even into, I guess, the category or actually
your investment. If my house is my showpiece, I'm gonna build my house. You build your body. You build whatever you
build what you because a lot of women that I know, they say, you know, even women that come and that actually train and stuff, they say like, this is an investment for me. Like, this is something that's going to help me. And I've seen women who have surgery, to be honest, I've seen their self-esteem rise. I've seen you just don't know people's story, and to body shame them for making a decision with their own body, to me, it's just it. And social media,
I think it really starts from like when we were growing up, because we did it like, oh, what's she doing? Why she got that on? She too big for that. Oh, what's she doing? And even as a trainer, not gonna lie, not as much anymore. I try to live by truly light and love now. But we're like, oh, girl, why you do that? And then I'm like, oh, she done went to 17 different schools, got 11 different degrees. If she want to spend it on her tatas, girl, do you. Complete. But it's still in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, just do a squat. But again, I was like, that's her prerogative. That's
right. And that's the part about it. It's their prerogative. And I like, to me now, I try to focus more on, okay, yes, I want you to, because at the end of the day, for me, they're still a client. And I don't care how much you pay for your body or how many squats you do or how many push-ups, all that stuff. The transformation, the true transformation starts in your mind. You can do all of those things. You can pay for all of those things. You can, I mean, it's so much that you do to transform. But if you haven't mentally transformed, you can do all of those things and you still have not truly transformed, or you'll go back into the cycle.
It's so weak.
So, okay. So I was saying earlier, like, that we body shame the other direction too, right? So like, I used to be really, really thin, like really like no curve, no nothing. And I mean, I prayed for some curves, like prayed, like Jesus on the knees, like please give me
God answer prayers.
it was like literally like all throughout high school and then part of like college, I didn't have any like what you would consider woman curves. And so all my friends had it. And so I wanted it. Okay, now I have the curves. I have all of it. But when you're talking about being in the fitness world, like I work out a ton. And one of the questions that I get all the time is if I've had surgery, because I've had 2 kids and 2 C-sections. And so and maybe there's a shaming part of it because for some of us that did it natural, that got our body back natural, that got our stomach back flat natural, that got rid of the poop, when someone tells us that we didn't do it like that, or we got lipo, or they're expecting that there's no truth in that, then that is a little annoying too, because I shouldn't have to tell people that my booty is real. Like it's real, it's, you know, is God given. But I shouldn't have to explain that to people because it has become such an industry where the surgery is normal, or people will say, you can't get your stomach flat naturally, you have to go get it cut out. And so it is a little annoying in the fitness world because you're like, okay, I really worked hard for this. Like, and I'm not saying that people that get surgery don't work hard, because they do, but they work hard after the fact. And I'm not trying to be rude about it, but it is what it is. And so if I had to work hard and be in the gym on 2-a-days and change my diet to plant-based and really be in this thing to get my stomach the way it is, and someone comes up to me like, "Ooh, girl, what surgery you had?" I'm pissed off. Now I'm mad because, you know, I didn't go that route. And there's a shame in that too.
Like, shame in my work.
I mean, right now I'm catfishing because I'm recuperating from surgery. I just got the clearance to go. But when I was walking around looking like the Black Hulk or Black Thor at like 220, people would always ask me, "Do you take steroids?" And I'm like, they say, "Are you juicing?" And Chris know me. I'm country. I was like, when I first moved to DC, I'm like, "What are you talking about? What is that?" I was like, "No, I just work hard. This is a lot of time, like 2.5 hours in God time in the gym and eating right and not eating certain things." And I would feel the same way, like disrespected a little bit. Why you just assume that I took the easier route? No offense, if you take steroids, whatever. And like, also, I didn't grow up looking at females the way that my male counterparts viewed females. So I remember one time my mom showed me her modeling portfolio and she was like 20 something. And she looks like she's a 20-something year old woman. I was like, but I saw my mom when she was 40 and I'm looking back when she was 20. I'm like, okay, Gloria. Okay. Like, post it, looking like y'all. And also, like, back in our day, we did not see mothers getting it in after they dropped the, like, y'all, I'm like, 3 kids where?
Right.
How? Like,
right.
They didn't
know. But the body shaming is terrible. Like, so Chris and I are really close. We've been close for years, Jonathan, all of us. But Chris and I have had conversations about the body journey for a while. So last year we got heavy on it. We would encourage each other. We're gonna do this and put our, we having foot on necks. I ain't even gonna sugarcoat that for y'all. We've had plans to show our ass this year. So when you see us, know that we work for it. What bothered me last year was Chris had worked her butt off. And I'm talking about, you think your little videos that y'all were looking at when she was doing these challenges or something, Chris was jumping rope and outside and working and cutting back and all kind of stuff. And when she finally got where she wanted to be, the first thing people said was she had surgery. Listen, the cuss out I had for people, I'm glad she kept in her DMs, because I was saying hashtag FTP, F them people.
But
You're not worried about what people have to say.
Me because I'm like, are y'all not watching this week to week take place?
Week to week. And that's the thing that blew my mind.
In the front porch.
Yes.
TikToking it up. Putting them filter. Baby, I'm like, how would... My friend is literally jump roping for life like we had to do at Forest Lake Elementary. Boo-boo. I'm like, I don't know how y'all jump with those. No, no ma'am. Bless y'all spirit. I can't do that.
That's the crazy, and that's the thing I was gonna say after Shamika spoke. She said about the surgery thing. Like, I literally, like Chris said, I posted my journey. Like, I took people on the journey with me because, one, it kept me accountable. Because if I didn't post it, it was just like, it was just me. Even though I have an amazing man that helps me and he pushes me, it's just something about that
done called him
self-love
amazing
and wanting
twice.
to
I know
do it
that's
for
right.
yourself. And I did that, and I kept, and I was like, you know what? I know there are women who are in the same place that I'm in who just want to see somebody else that looks like them.
Yep.
And that's pushing it. And so that kept me going more than anything. And then to finally post my before and after to get the reaction, like I'm not even gonna lie. You know, people be like, "Oh, brush the haters off." Like that thing,
You was ready to fight.
it hit and it hurt because it's just like I worked too hard for somebody to be trying to give him some doctor some credit. No. And the worst thing, the thing that really, really made me be like, you know what, Chris, this is your journey. People, not everybody's going to be for it. The whole surgery thing is so big now that nobody believes anything because these women are literally lying. They are saying they went in the gym and they did all this and they went to just laid on the table, but they got a receipt for what they ass. You know, it's just like, and then they selling teas and all that other stuff. But
tummy tea, that damn tummy tea.
Like they go to surgery, then they sell a tea and say they lost it by pooping and all that stuff. Like, no, sis, you didn't.
I don't know what tea you drinking, but baby, tea don't do that.
The thing that hurt the most is I'm in a group. It's called Black Women in Fitness or something like that, and it's like 400,000 or 500,000 women in this group. And
they better not have said nothing. They better not have.
What you do is they feature someone's transformation and you write this whole story just inspiring people. And I did that, y'all. And the backlash I got saying that I had surgery. Who is your doctor? Like some people, you have, of course, let me go back. There are women who congratulate. There are women who say, can you help me get to where you did what you did and all this stuff. But a lot of women, a lot of Black women told me I was lying, just shamed me in the comments. I'm talking about a post that had over 10,000 likes, over 15,000 comments almost. And it was so many women just shaming, just like, there's no way you're lying. Y'all need to go look, her pages or her pictures are altered. It broke my heart because these are the women that these are my sisters. I posted my journey and told you all what I did, which I could have said, you know what, pay me. Click this link and pay me and I'll show you how to get here. No,
I can have a stomach like mine.
I gave it for free at that moment. I'm not doing that anymore, but I gave it for free at that moment and was like, look, this is the journey. This is what I did. This is what I ate. Bing, 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 bing. And that was still the backlash. And it was so heartbreaking because it's like, gosh, like it made me not even want to share my journey because it's like, it's hard.
We shame what we don't understand, and it's not fair. The level of body shaming that we see, and it's not just women, it's men too. I've seen more insecure men about certain body situations than you do with women. And it's a sick, sad situation because all of us are trying to fit an image that's an imaginary image. That shit don't really exist. Like for me, my ideal weight is like 159, 160. Can't get there. I'm like a bobblehead. We got a problem. But the level of we're trying to go, it doesn't really exist. You have to be healthy and comfortable with being who you are. What works for you.
When I Chris, that was actually that was actually going to be my next question, which is the perfect segue actually, because we've been the whole time we've been talking about body shaming. We've been talking about women, right?
Men.
So can only women be body shamed?
Oh,
men have it bad.
When I tell you,
battle that.
As I've worked for, can I say company names on this?
You can say you just your mouth.
Oh my God! I worked for LA Fitness and Equinox, but I've worked for one company for 4 years and the other company for like 1.5 years, 2 years. But you see people's bodies change day after day because you see these same same patrons, frequenters every day, and you see. But for me, when you go in and you're like, oh, I look good, and you're like, oh, I want my chest a little bit bigger. I need my triceps a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
My calves. And you Black men, baby, when I tell you, they will tell somebody down if they ain't got no legs.
Yeah.
Oh, he all up about it. Oh, all he do is chest.
We'll say something about that too.
Yes,
y'all
we
need to
do.
work out our legs.
But
You do it.
it's also like the conversation has changed so much because what happened? What you say, Chris?
I
Don't
say he
mislead
misled Day too many times. He misled Day. And that is a form of body shaming. It is.
It
and that's
is.
what I said earlier. Like, I have been not only a victim of body shaming, but I've done it, not even realizing. I'm like, that wasn't nice. Like,
Well, see, that's what preference kind of messes up in body shaming. So, true. Spoiler alert. Like she said, you said about how the people you grew up around. If you ever see my uncle's a big dude. No lie, a man should be a big man to me. No body shaming, but
accurate.
You in front of me, it should be a shadow. I shouldn't see me. If I can wrap my arm around you, I don't do skinny. It's my preference. I like a big. I like that, but that's my thing. I don't think skinny is wrong. Good luck to you, healthy you. And if I could get your size, I would. But I like them big.
I think that's the point is like now people really confuse the difference between body shaming. Like it's just an overused term. Like if I say like, okay, so I call men that are a little bigger, I call them fluffy because I feel like that's what they look like to me. Like their stomachs are fluffy. And like my preference is not fluffy men. And I won't not date them. It's just not my preference. Like my dad was like 6'2". He was muscular. He was athletic. I was an athlete. I like athletic men. But sometimes fluffy men try to talk to me, but it's not my thing. And so listen, I know a lot of people that like fluffy and dad bods, and that is fine. It's just
what is the dad bod? Sorry.
I just need a middle ground. Like I'm kind of like Crystal. Like I feel like I'm short, but I'm thick, so I just need you to be bigger than me.
Yeah.
You gotta be bigger than me.
You gotta be.
But
in that, but to me, that's a preference. But I think what it is I think because before we came on the show, I was like, there's a thin line, but I really don't think there's a line at all. It is either a preference or you body shame.
Yeah.
Like, period. But I think where people fall short is in expressing their preference, they body shame what they don't prefer. You don't have to do that. You can express what you like without downplaying what you don't.
But
and that's
insecure. They want you to want them too. Like there's guys that don't like thicker women. I'm not mad you don't like thick women. Like if you don't like your woman with curves, that's okay. But there's some women that'll be like, oh, you don't like curves.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And the thing about that is, that was another point that I wanted to hit. It's not that people, I don't even think it's the fact that people don't like the fact that they're not that preference.
Yes, Toya. Yes, I know you do, boo. You love Fluffy.
I love you, Fluffy.
I know, boo. I know.
Girl. But the thing is, I think it's when it comes to that whole preference thing, I think it's more so people get offended at the fact that they don't fit a preference of someone that they wouldn't even deal with. Like, why are you?
Oh, that's a trigger. Oh, that's a trigger. Oh, that's a trigger.
Like,
that's a trigger.
But seriously, like, why are you upset at someone's preference and you wouldn't even date them if given the opportunity? Like, you don't even fit it.
That's when they need to go see Dr. Phil and sit up.
And that's my point. My point is, I think the biggest issue when it comes to this whole preference thing is, it's the fact that people mentally battle with themselves not fitting the preference that they want to fit in.
That's it.
And that's where the whole double standard comes in at.
Right.
Because when especially with the advent of social media, women can have a preference. A woman can say a man is too short. A woman can say he's too fluffy, he's too this. But let a man say, oh no, she's too big.
Ain't thick enough.
She's you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden it becomes body shaming. That's where that double standard comes in.
Yeah, I agree. And it's wrong.
What's her name? The lady, the one I've been waiting with this one. Lizzo. So she was one where in the beginning I felt people were body shaming her. But then after a while, I was like, hey, sis, chill. Like, you throwing yourself at people at this point, like, chill. But the body shaming, because Nikki can come out there with her butt every which direction, but she do it as a different problem. But you're forcing your body on us, and now it's getting to be too much. So You can't force it on me. I like me. I'm sorry. I'm never going to get to that 159. My stuff won't always say obese because I like being thick. If I can't when I sit down, then fuck it. I don't want it. I like me. But I don't ever want to be that small again. On that same token, there are going to be people who tell me, oh, your thighs shouldn't touch. From where I'm from, they're supposed to touch.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to.
Like
together.
When I got to DC and I saw,
you ain't big enough, but hey, that's what I like. So it's different strokes for different folks. My uncle always told me you have to define what works for you. So my comment is I like big men, I don't like skinny men. But my inside joke was I don't want to wrap my hand around your waist and then they touch when they come around. So that's body shaming. I shouldn't tell you that you're so skinny you fit inside my arm. But it's my preference to like what I like. I think sometimes when we describe what we like, that's when we get into shaming because we make people feel bad for who they are. You be you and you be beautiful being you, but it just might not be what everybody's cup of tea is. And we need to be okay with that.
Right. We do make men feel bad about having a preference. Like women, and I am going to touch on this because I feel like I tell Hook this like privately, but like women really are unrealistic a lot of times with our expectations for men. Like we feel like we have the right to say and do what we want. And then when men do it, we're like, you don't have a right to do that because it hurts our feelings. And we can't be like that. Like if a man doesn't, listen, we don't meet everyone's preference. I don't meet everyone's personality preference. I don't meet their skin tone preference. And people have skin tone preferences, which is their business between them and Jesus. Because I like me a dark man, but I'll take a light man, but I love a dark man. And so it is what it is. But I feel like it's okay for a man to have those. He's going to have them regardless whether he voices them or not. But I feel like as soon as a man says, "Oh, well, you know, I really don't want my woman over 200." Okay, well, I'm fine over 200. But if you don't like that, that's okay. You want 110, you want 120. Okay, I'm still good over here with my 200. But it's okay for him not to want that. Like it's okay for him to not want a woman that has natural hair, or to not want a woman that's bald headed, or to whatever the thing is. It's okay. It's fine. But we look at it like it's not fine. Like, oh, she's beautiful. How come you don't like that? Well, she's beautiful to us. He might look at her and be like,
When
you know who we got
I
on
have
about
a lot of
Lil Wayne about that. When Lil Wayne said, I like a long hair, thick red bone. We dug on Lil Wayne's behind that he was choosing light-skinned women, but that was
talk about him until he brushed his mouth or something.
I really agree. Like it's crazy because we do it every day. We see men. Another one that was said that made me like that. The baby had a song where something about he like his red bones or something like that, and people went into a whole spiel about it. My thing is, it's like you said, it's crazy to me how women like we want to be heard, we want to express ourselves, we want men to accept who we are, we want them to accept what we prefer, but then when it comes to what men prefer, it's like no.
The worst thing in the world, women's rights.
Yes, it's like this whole feminist. I'm not even going to this whole feminist because I'm just. But anyway, I think there's no way I'm going to get offended about a man who likes women under 200 pounds when you don't even fit my preference. So why am I upset about what you prefer? And not only that, why is it that, like you said, I can prefer a man who's not under 5'5", who has to be 5'9" or taller, or 6 feet or taller. They gotta get taller than me when I have heels on. But a man can't say, "I'm sorry, I don't like women that wear weave." If you don't like women that wear weave, go on about your business. You know,
this is when I go back into like when I didn't want to be I've always wanted to be a performer, but in the event in the alternate universe when I didn't want to perform in Boom Cat Cat, I love how the mind works, and I would love to, like you just said, why are you knocking him? Like, I want to go inside her brain or his brain and like, who hurt you? Like, why are you that tore up on the inside? Why? What have you not let go?
Jay, don't you judge my cupcake. Shouts out to Leader's Treats for my I like myself thick. I got to keep it maintained.
I think, like you said, Jonathan, it boils down to it's a deep personal issue that people have not settled within themselves. I'm sorry, there's no way I'm gonna love who I am, be secure in who I am, and be happy where I am with myself, and be upset because you choose something that doesn't fit, that I don't fit in, when I wouldn't even choose you from the beginning. Like, you're not even what I want, but I'm upset because you don't want what I am. Like, that makes it absolutely makes no sense. And I wish that's why I wish women could just literally sit down and have like outer body experiences and see.
It's not just, I'm telling you, baby, it's on this side of the fence too.
I believe it. I believe it's men, but I'm just speaking from
I got you.
I see it from, but men do it all the time too. Men, I've seen, listen, I've had men who have tried to, who've been like, I guess, tried to holler at me, should I say, been in my DMs. I might even went out on a date with them, you know? And then once we get to talking, it's like, well, I don't like women that wear a lot of makeup or weave. Well, everything that you bring on Facebook.
Did you not do your research?
Like, I had all of those things on. Like, it's like, don't come in and try to make me fit your preference. You know, once you get
don't try to change me.
No, don't change me. If I am this way when you come in, this is who I am. And if I don't fit that preference, don't mold me into that. And men do that often. And I think women try to do that with men. We're talking about before the thing, projects. We take on those projects and we're like, okay, you know, I want him to look like this and like that. And then sometimes we get to the point where we're like, you know what, since I can't have that, I'm gonna shape this man into my preference.
You're mold him how you want to be him.
Into what I want him to be. No, you just sit on your hind tail. Your preference is your preference. I'm not gonna fold on my preference, but I used to say, okay, I take that back. I used to say I'm not gonna fold on my preference, but I had, in order for me to actually meet people and get outside of the toxic type of men I was dating, I had to step outside my preference. Because sometimes your preference will hinder you from
listen, okay, you said it, so we're gonna tap into it. That preference is toxic.
It can be toxic.
That preference can very be toxic. And
Lisa was saying that
what
too.
I'm trying to say. And it's very few in that line where your preference is not toxic.
Yep.
But I had to tell myself that my preference is toxic. So I have to open up my pool. I mean, I'm not dating right now because I don't want to be on Dateline. But in order, I'm going to have to step outside of my preference to find, in the event that the Almighty wants me to have that love thing. But I was doing mental inventory. I was like, oh, my preference might not need to be my preference.
Mm-hmm. Someone touched on the idea of colorism, like the difference between having a preference and skin tone. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's noticed or not, but I'm like really big about descriptions and I'm really big about being intentional about keeping things separate. Body shaming, when we're talking about body shaming, literally it is an uninvited opinion. That's usually how you get to body shaming.
That's the best definition.
Uninvited. Like, I didn't ask you, why are you coming for me? That's what body shaming is. Like, and on the internet, we do it so much because we're so accessible. So it's easy to be like, oh, Lizzo, you shouldn't have worn that. Now, in real life, we probably just would have thought that, like, oh, I can't believe she came here like that. You would have thought that. But because it's so accessible, you can type that. But when we're talking about colorism, that is something totally different. That's systemic. It is not colorist if someone prefers a lighter skinned woman. I happen to be a browner skinned woman. If that is what you are biologically attracted to, I do not get the right to tell you that you do not get the right to be biologically attracted to a red bone. If you do not like brown skin, you do not like brown skins. There is nothing wrong with that. I think that we need to stop getting to the point where we're mixing up definitions. And so I did want to touch on that because it is not a thin line. Colorism is very different than preference.
Yeah.
I like darker skinned men. I don't always date darker skinned men. My preference is darker skinned men, but that doesn't mean I think all lighter skinned men are ugly. My preference, I naturally gravitate towards darker skinned men. That is just what my biology wants to do.
I naturally prefer Chipotle. Like, do not ask me on a date to Kava. Jonathan. We're not going to Kava. We're not going to Rita's. I want Chipotle with double chicken.
And you are entitled to what you prefer. And
don't look at me backwards because I want Chipotle.
Right. And the thing is, and it's the same both ways with when, and somebody brought it up in the comments. I think it was Jocelyn. And everybody knows, if you know me or you follow me, y'all know I keep my head bald. Like I keep a bald head, and I cut my hair, you know, at any moment I will take a razor and I will shave my head bald. And it's amazing to me how many men have been in my inbox once I post a picture of my bald head, telling me how much better I look with hair. And it's like,
wow,
unmitigated
Jermaine,
bald.
shut up,
Like,
Jermaine. Nobody cares.
like first of all, I didn't cut my hair for you, you know, and I think that's the thing.
They do it though. They come in about your hair.
We can't force it. We can't force who we are on people. We can't force people to want what we are. What you are, like you said, you naturally gravitate to men. The men who like you, as that you fit their preference, they'll naturally gravitate to you. And then that's where that chemistry will come in. But forcing people to fit a preference or to fit your preference, I think men do that a lot. Men, I mean, women do it too, but I see it a lot with men. Like, it's like men prefer, and it's crazy with preference, and I'm going to go there with this, but when it comes to a wife, men want that classy, godly figure woman that represents that they can take home to mama, that, you know, that has that
But they really want Cardi.
But they want Cardi. And it's just
you
like,
want to take home the Christian lady, but you F ratchet bitches. Let's call it what it is.
That's it. And that's the thing. And that's the part that kills me, because it's like, okay, so what, like, and that's where I'm confused, is like, so what really is your preference? Do you really have a preference, or you just prefer a woman? You know what I'm saying? It's just
is attracted to something different than what his spirit is attracted to.
Exactly.
A lot of it. So his preference is constant. Like our physical his flesh is attracted to something different than what his spirit is attracted to. And women have to understand that as well. Like, I think we get confused when we're like, oh, well, they want a Cardi. They don't really want a Cardi. They want to play with Cardi. And that's not to be disrespectful to the Cardi, but they want to play with her because she's for fun. And when it's time to be serious, he can't take her home. He can't wife her. So the men that want to wife her, then she gets the Offset, because Offset wants to wife her. The average man doesn't want a Cardi, and that's okay. And so that's why we have to be careful about meeting physical preferences, because how you show up as a woman, like if you show up as a wife, you need to be a wife, because when a man is looking for a wife, he's going to look for you. He's not going to look for Cardi. Now, he might have played with Cardi for a couple years because Cardi was easy, but he's not gonna wife Cardi. He's going to slide over and recognize that you're a wife.
But then what they don't understand is that Cardi is too separate again.
So I always say my inside thing is, especially coming from where I was before in my life to this new season that I'm in right now. Reality is, sometimes I'm Cardi, sometimes I'm Claire Huxtable. There's two sides to me. Sometimes I want to walk around and do all the stuff in the Martha Stewart and take care of the house, and I want to do the budget, and I want to make sure you're good, and I want to go ahead and be in church, and I want to do all of that. But when the lights go out, sometimes I want to be Cardi, and it's a balance, but I don't want to live the Cardi life. And like you said, I don't want to be solely either. And we have to all learn to be comfortable with who we are, and saying, hey, this is what I am. You're going to get both of these, and because it's all is me.
You're going to get three, because as soon, it took me so, y'all know me, because this was who y'all knew back in high school, but it took me so long to become comfortable, to be able to show the world Delilah Dean and Zeke, because I thought I was not supposed to be able to have this Delilah Dean inside of me, because all these black men around me, nope, that's gay, that's gay, that's gay. You can't do that. You can't do gymnastics. You can't do dance. I like being just shamed from good God, everybody. But until I was completely comfortable with that, because if a dude was like, oh, I can't date you, you're too feminine. I'm like, what does that even mean? I'm just, what? But then I was like, oh, I understand my femininity now, whatever the word is. I understand it now. And I have taken full advantage of it, which is why I let the world see. Like, being a preacher's kid was my, like, Catch-22, it was my double sword arrow, it was my kryptonite, it was my superpower. But I'm like, fear, girl, bye.
That fear and that safe place is necessary, because Once you get to a certain, it hits you in your 30s. When you get
Baby, because I thought the church should have been the safest place that a little
No.
black boy could grow up.
No,
As a preacher's kid, I thought I was supposed to be protected. What
that's
I'm
a whole
supposed to,
other subject.
Nah,
you know,
that's a whole
that's a topic for another day.
That's a whole.
and your daddy a detective, and your mama work on base. I quit.
That's a whole nother subject.
Right,
That's
exactly.
a whole different podcast.
Okay, we'll start. Back.
What you say, Hook?
Now, I think Chris was about to say something, but we lost her for a second. But basically, while waiting, honestly, a lot of men don't even know what we want. And I say that because growing up, and I can speak from this from the male standpoint, we're expected to have a certain type of woman on our arm. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, no matter, you might have the good girl over here, but what you're more concerned with when you go back home, like we all went to college and, brought girls back home and stuff like that. Now we're more concerned with who we got on our arm. What the fellas are going to say, what's Unc going to say, you know what I'm saying? So until you get mature enough and you truly understand the type of woman you want, like I'm not going to say how old I am because I know there's a joke coming from Crystal somewhere. But at this point right now, you want someone who you're equally yoked with. You want someone who you can laugh with. You want someone who you're comfortable being yourself around. You realize that now when you're older, but the younger generation, and that's why I'm talking to my nephews and cousins now, don't even worry about what these guys expect you to have. Go with who makes you happy, who makes you feel comfortable, and just be okay with that.
Well, right now, a lot of the shows that we're watching are pushing that. So I was big on, if you catch a lot of things, the Black Panther pushed on killing the tradition. And if you ever watch Bridgerton, the brother in Bridgerton was in love with a hoe. Plain and simple. Let's call it what it is. So the world didn't approve of her, but that's where his heart was. But they wanted him to marry somebody respectable. You can't walk around here and try to do what everybody thinks you should do, been there, lived that, and then not be with what makes you happy. Because at the end of the day, when the wedding is over, when the show is over, when the pictures are down, you got to live with that decision. So if Cardi make you happy, then nigga be Offset.
You Cardi.
If Church makes you happy, then be TD Jakes. You cannot live your parents' expectations. Yes, your mama wants you to have a good girl, but if that good girl ain't gonna make you happy when your mama is gone, you're gonna be stuck with that person you don't like. And a lot of us people are married right now that do not like each other, but they're there via obligation because everybody wants that pat on the back that says, good girl, good boy, you did right, you look good, but you go home and you're miserable. People need to do what makes them happy because you gotta live that life in the end. And maybe it don't look like what the world think it should, but you gotta deal with that. Your body gotta make you happy. Your reflection in the mirror got to make you happy. Your mate has to make you happy. And you have to be happy with yourself too. Because if you ain't happy with the man in the mirror, then you effed, period.
Right,
but when you figure out who you are, then you need to pick what reflects you. That's where that equally yoke comes from. That's where that person that you see a friend comes from. That's those marriages that you still see old people dancing at 80 and they still having a good time and you can't figure out why. Because they
Kelly Rowland said your partner got to be a reflection.
But I think the reason why we have so many issues like that is because people skip the season of their life where they do self-evaluation, where they take the time to discover who they are. Because how, for example, until Adam knew his assignment and knew what he was put here to do, God couldn't put Eve there. Like God made sure Adam knew what he was to do. He knew he had, first of all, he had that relationship with him. God did not put Eve in there before Adam developed a relationship with God and before Adam knew what he was supposed to do in the earth. And that's why there are a lot of men out here because they feel like, okay, I got to marry this woman or I got to marry this kind of woman or their family, friends, like Hook said, men push, you got to have this, you got to have that, you got to have that, or this woman should have this or no. If you take that season of your life, just the chill from dating, from doing all this stuff and make sure you find out who you are. You find out who God is calling you to be. You find out what your purpose is in earth. I feel like that more people would just try to just force, I guess, these unions. And that's why we have so many marriages that are ending in divorce because people marry people and then finally discover who they are and then realize the person laying next to them, you don't fit this.
You can't get your mama's preference because that's the life that you have to live. You have to learn you. My mama made me eat broccoli. I don't prefer that crap. So you have to learn who you are because you got to say what you do. And we don't do that. We pick what everybody else is going to say looks good. Oh, Mika, you look good in Nike shirts, but you don't like Nike. You like Polo. Now you wearing Nike because it gets you the most likes. It gets you the pat on the back, but you're not happy in it. Then
it's that season where you get to know yourself. It's that season where you get to know yourself. Because if I did not get to know myself, like I love me some Delilah Dean and Zeke. Love it. I've been hearing heels in my head since elementary school. But you can't be a little black boy and be in your room popping around. Granted, I love being a man. I love my PP. I love being a man. I have no desire to be a woman. But when I tell you on December 4th at 7:30, when I said fuck it and let Delilah Dean out that box, that stylist put that ponytail in my head. I ain't never had no ponytail in my head. I ain't never had on no heels. I ain't never had my face beat. But you couldn't tell me I was living my entire life.
I think when you're saying I don't think that people know what that tangibly looks like when you say learn yourself, get to know yourself. Like there's people, I just earlier, there's people that they're not comfortable in themselves because they won't spend time with themselves. Like you have to explore new things, you have to try new things, you have to fail at things. And in order for you to fail at things, I keep calling it fail forward. Like you just need to walk forward and fail. And be absolutely okay with doing it wrong. Date the wrong person, talk to the wrong person, try the wrong hobby, like try the wrong job. Because when you do that, you figure out what works for you, what you love, what brings you enjoyment. And when we're talking about marriage, I just got a divorce, and I kid you not, I have always said this. I am the woman that checks all the boxes. I check all the boxes of a wife. And when you are a person that checks all the boxes, people say you're supposed to be good for me, so therefore I want you. Well, the problem is my energy doesn't match everyone's energy. And so I've had to learn that like there's a chemistry, a vibe, a comfortableness that I have to have with someone, and the boxes don't matter. Because yes, I can cook, I can clean, I can pour into you, I can love on you. But if you don't love me for my goofiness, for my readiness, for my spoiledness, for when I'm inappropriate, for when I say the wrong thing, if you can't love me in all of me, like the bad, the good, it doesn't matter if I check the boxes, because when I'm at home, you're bored of me. I'm the boring wife. I'm not spicy. Somebody else and it was party, but you really didn't want me, but your parents said you had to have that's the girl. And when you brought me home, everyone said that's the girl. That's the girl that you need to be with.
Good boy and the good girl back check on the back. That's it. You got the pat on the back. Good girl. Good job. That's a good thing. You're so busy trying to make sure that everybody else is pleased with what you're doing. You're living in misery within yourself. And then we wonder why we get about 40 or 50 and we're like, hey, I don't like it because you didn't do what you needed to do. You were doing for approval. We were people pleasing, and we have to stop that. That's why the preference versus body shaming. Own your shit. If you like this color, like it. If you like this body, like it. If you like this type, like it. Because at the end of the day, you got to live with what you do. And we don't do that. And then we start body shaming. We start choice shaming. People got something to say about him in jeans or him in shorts or him in heels. People got stuff to say about Hook with bald head or Hook with dreads. People got stuff to say about Chris when she was thicker and now she's smaller. People got stuff to say about you and you are you, me when I'm me. At the end of the day, when you define yourself and say, this is what I am, when you are uncomfortable, that is when you are your most successful, because you realize, you know what? I can stand alone and I'm perfectly fine with what I've done, because inside here, I'm peaceful. I don't care if the world think you crazy. Once we own that, we move totally different. We stop body shaming. When you learn you stop doing shit to other people. But
you know what? Back to what Shamika was saying, I think the reason why people don't reach that point is because, like she said, people don't take that time to sit with themselves. Yeah. People are really afraid of is discovering the truth about themselves.
Well, they are.
And they don't want to face the ugly, or they don't want to have to finally admit that there are parts of them that they truly hate. You know, and it's just like, and in doing that, they reflect off of others what they truly feel about themselves. And that's why it's so important. And that's why we have so many like marriages where it's a spouse and a husband who hate each other, but the fact is they don't hate each other. They hate the fact that this person is a reflection of either what they are trying to be or what they feel like they can never reach, you know. And it's just like for example, you have a man whose preference is a woman that doesn't have high self-esteem because it makes him feel better because he don't really feel good about it. So I prefer a woman that I can walk all over because I haven't dealt with the fact that I had these issues when I was coming up being a man, you know, whatever, you know, or, you know, it's hard because people do not love, at the end of the day, people do not love themselves. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to fill that void with just another being that fits a preference of what they want or what they're trying to be. Like, it amazes me seeing people being in relationships with people who truly they bleed. Like you see all these, I see so many relationships on Facebook, and I used to be just like that. Y'all, years ago, if things were going wrong in my life, you knew because I bled. But in that time, I was broken. I reflected all of that brokenness on other people. And the crazy part about it is the very thing that we don't want to attract, we attract because we have those unresolved issues in ourselves. So we're like attracting the very thing that we're trying not to be. But because we won't self-reflect, because we are afraid of being ourselves, we're afraid of what God or whoever, you know, everybody doesn't believe in God, but I do. So I'm going to speak from my perspective. But I was in a season where I didn't believe, like I didn't want God to show me who I really was because I was afraid of the work that it was going to have to take for me to get there. And then if I had to do the work, I was afraid that God was going to tell me, like, you know, that man you're dealing with, you need to let it. He didn't want to hear it. That man was my preference. I didn't want to hear God tell me if I did went and did some self-reflection and work, you need to let that go because I already knew that I wasn't going to let it go.
Right. And we still got a few minutes left. So before we head out, I want to hear from everybody individually. What are some takeaways you want the viewers to have? Like what's the lasting images or impressions you want to leave them with? And Chrissy, since you got the floor, we'll go ahead and start with you.
The thing that I want everyone to truly take away from this is do not be ashamed or take on, I guess, the opinions of other when it comes to your preference. What you prefer is what you prefer. Own it. You have to get rid of this mindset that I have to prefer what I feel others are going to approve of. And you don't. The only approval that you need is yours, God's, and the person that you're with. So that's one thing that I do want to take away. And I also want people to take away, but I also want people to take away the fact that there's one more type of body shaming that I don't think we really hit, but it's a body shaming that I call SBS, and it's self body shaming. I think we body shame ourselves so much. We don't like the way we look. We don't like this season. We don't like if we're in a progress of transformation. I want you to love yourself where you are, no matter where you are in your journey, no matter where you are when it comes to health, fitness, whether you get surgery, whether you just own who you are in every single season. And when you get to the place mentally that you accept yourself and you aren't a prisoner of your own thoughts and the thoughts of others, you will truly live freely and you can enjoy, not only your preference, but others, you know what I'm saying? Like other people I think you will draw more attention to the preference that you actually want when you become who you are called to be. And you're not, like I said, a prisoner of those opinions and thoughts of other people.
All right, good stuff. Shamika?
So a few takeaways is I always say do everything with God first, with God in mind first. If you are a Christ believer, he should be the point of contact anytime that you interact with anyone else. Sidebar, please be okay with your preferences, because when you get married, you have to have sex with that person. So it'd be nice if you were physically attracted to them. So, you know, please like what you like. That's okay. Please date what you like. That's okay too. If you want to, you know, sometimes you try new foods when you're traveling. You could try different people, but if you don't like that, go back to your preference. That's okay. Be comfortable with who you are. The truth of the matter is none of us are perfect. This perfection model that we have inside of the church, that we have inside of society, it's not real. You should know that it's not real. Everyone around you is not perfect. We're all fumbling around life and trying to figure it out. Some of us fumble more gracefully. Some of us have figured out how to fumble and it doesn't look that bad. However, fumble anyways, figure it out, love on yourself, because when you love on yourself, it doesn't matter if you fail or you make mistakes, you'll figure it out. And it's okay to be a sucky person. It's okay to have sucky preferences. It's okay to have toxic preferences. Keep your preferences until God shakes them out of you. You'll figure it out.
All right, good stuff. All right, Jonathan, what you got, Fred?
Unmute yourself, Jalaluddin.
Hey, thank you. Because Jalaluddin will be on it. I appreciate it. Jalaluddin be on it. She keeps me together. As the body here that teeters on both sides of the fence, not that way, but because I have a hyper feminine alter ego and a hyper masculine alter ego, it took me so long to know that that is who I am, and I would not be for a lot of people. And until I really embraced all of that, I could not walk in my hashtags, my light and love in its entirety, because I was not being authentic. Whatever you prefer, whoever you prefer, you have to embrace that, because I've seen way too many men go to what the church or what their family preferred for them. And now they have to deal with an aftermath. And I've seen people deal with the aftermath, and that's a lot. When it comes to this body, it's your temple. What you want your temple to look like, let that be your temple. Some people thighs touch. Everybody don't have no chest, no Thor chest. It may not happen for you. And it may not happen for me no more. I don't even know if I'm going to get to Black Thor. Whatever God gave you. Use that. And I got to agree with Shamika, because as a preacher's kid, if you don't consult my friend first, you're gonna fail. And that's just it. You gotta consult. Take it to the water, talk about it. If it ain't got nothing to do with you, you mind your business, you drink your water, and you praise your higher power, and that's it. I promise you, that is my 1 + 2 + 3. And I get 6 every time.
Yeah, he had to check his math real quick. All right, Chris, what you got?
Listen, tonight has been absolutely awesome and amazing. And I thank God for who he brought on this podcast with us tonight, because it came together the perfect way. At the end of the day, you have to deal with you. When you go to wherever you go after you leave this earth, what you're going to be asked about is you. So you need to make sure that everything that you do is regarding you. If you prefer a certain type of food, this is your life, this is your world, this is your time. Do what you like to do that's going to be within reason, because you cannot live your life people pleasing. People are going to come and they're going to go, and you got to live with your decisions. So own it. Deal with you. Figure out who you are. Own your F-ups, own your wins, own your future, own your past. And when you do, go for what you got to go for. At the end of the day, you have to be happy with you. And if you're not happy with you, then you're not going to be happy with nobody else. So your number one preference needs to be you. Be you. You need to be your first preference, and then build off of that. From there on, you'll have healthier lives, healthier relationships with your family, with your children, with your mates, with everybody. Once you prefer you, everything else falls into line. So love you first.
Absolutely, and that's a word. And I'm just going to sum up what everybody said in 3 words. Fuck them people. You know? Hey, whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to do, go for it, man. Tina Belcher. But, great, man. This has been this has been an awesome conversation. I appreciate everyone's experience. I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate your transparency as well. This has been phenomenal. Thank you guys for coming on. So Chris, what we got next week?
So listen, if you thought tonight was good, right? Bing, check it. Mika, Chrissy, Hook, myself, Jonathan, if you want to, you're welcome. We're going to come back next week, and our discussion is, many times you have a lot of women who will make comments and different things and say, especially in our community, because I'm going to talk about Black because I'm unapologetically pro-Black. We don't like being a man's therapist. The problem is we take on that role ourselves, thinking that if we fix him, he'll choose us. So next week, we are
coming back.
So next week, the Fab Five, maybe plus one, because we need to balance out 3 and 3. We'll come back and we will talk about, are you his helpmate or are you trying to be his healer? Because we get frustrated when we take on a role that wasn't assigned to us. We try to make you, we want to fix it. And sometimes we ain't supposed to be fixing all that stuff, not the way we're trying to. So we're going to title it, we're going to roll it. But one thing we are going to do is we're going to damn address it.
Sorry, and also Wednesdays, my podcast, Not Your Average Preacher's Kid, and this Friday, if you want to learn there, That's the Way Love Goes. Janet Jackson, Friday, 7 p.m. It'll be on my story. It's real cute. Get your boo, get your wine, turn the lights down low. Don't make a baby.
Absolutely.
I ain't making no baby. It's crack still pimping.
Baby, like Medea said, clank, clank. Them things expensive.
Make sure you guys tune in to Jonathan's podcast. I can only imagine. I can only what you got going on, right? And again, Christy, Shamika, Jonathan, Chris, thank you guys for coming on. This was a phenomenal conversation. For the viewers, make sure you guys react. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe to the content. This is
Check
this
us
is
out
really
next Sunday.
expectations. Yeah, definitely. And we'll have this crew back next Sunday. We'll recruit a couple more people, but we gonna run this thing back next Monday. So again, I appreciate you guys for joining.
Might be Delilah Dean next week. Okay, bye-bye.
And we'll see you again next week.
Stay on.
Who, me?
Night, y'all. Y'all stay on.
Bye-bye.
Bye, people.